facing 3 new charges over his handling of classified documents after he left the White House. Federal prosecutors filed an indictment on Thursday evening, superseding formal federal charges made in June, to which Trump has pleaded not guilty. Mr. Trump and 2 of his employees at his Florida estate, Mar-a-Lago, have been charged with obstructing the investigation into the former president's retention of top-secret documents. Court files claim employees were asked to delete camera footage recordings of the basement where classified documents had been stored after they'd been served a subpoena to produce the footage. Mr. Trump's campaign has responded to the new charges, calling it a, quote, desperate and flailing attempt by the government to harass him. On Thursday, Trump's lawyers also reportedly met with federal prosecutors in the investigation into efforts to overturn the 2020 election. They reports from Washington.
The latest charges relate entirely to the existing court case in Florida, alleging that the former president had retained top-secret documents after leaving office. Now, those are said to have included defense information. Mr. Trump had already been told he would be facing trial for this next May. His aide, Walt Nauta, had already been named as a co-defendant, and it's alleged that he and another employee, mar-a-lago property manager Carlos de Oliveira, who's been named as a new defendant in this case, are being charged with obstructing investigators. In plain terms, the prosecution is claiming that both of Mr. Trump's employees worked on his behalf to destroy evidence. These are just allegations for now, but prosecutors say that having spoken to Walt Nauta last summer, Mr. de Oliveira attempted to pressurize an IT worker to delete CCTV footage of a storage room where documents were stored. Now, this was said to be 2 days after a subpoena was served for that footage. Mr. Trump and Mr. Nauta had already pleaded not guilty to the other charges in this case. A statement by the Trump campaign after the charge described the allegations as more than a continued desperate and flailing attempt by what he called the Biden crime family and their Department of Justice to harass President Trump and those around him.
Benji Heyer from Feature Story News spoke to the BBC earlier about these new charges Trump is facing.
These charges in and of themselves are not a surprise, but the timings of them are, because this revised indictment accuses Trump's staff of conspiring to delete security footage that the Department of Justice had asked for. One staff member, it's claimed, texted another that the boss, aka Donald Trump, which is leading this investigation, has sort of shock despite him protesting his innocence. This revised indictment that came out on Thursday evening also alleges that Donald Trump spoke with biographers who were meeting him at one of his private residences, revealing to them what he calls a big pile of papers, material, including classified information about attacking a foreign country, reportedly Iran. That conversation was recorded. We've heard the tapes. Again, not particularly a surprise then that the Department of Justice would decide to move ahead based on that evidence. What did take people, I guess, by surprise in Washington, D.C. On Thursday was the fact that most of our attention was on a completely different investigation at the time, looking into Donald Trump's attempts to overturn the 2020 presidential election that he lost. A bunch of reporters, including myself, camped out outside a courtroom awaiting an indictment by a grand jury. And so